Hey everybody, John here from the Esports Department, going over tonight's LPL 2-game slate. Third one of these this week, which is a little bit weird. Usually we only have two solo LPL slates, and then we go back to LPL LCK. But it seems like they're evening up the amount of days that they have left in the season, so they just took an extra day off here. Back on the LPL. Some really fun ones tonight, I think. Again, a pretty good one as far as 2-game slates go. The thing that's going to kill a 2-game slate is when you have someone who's too big of a favorite and just condenses all the ownership for one matchup. And I don't think we're going to get that today. I think we've got some good matchups where the ownership can get spread out. Let's actually, while I'm doing this, I'll just do it with you guys here because the line on some of these games has moved quite a bit today. Why don't I just go look at it again and see if there's been some extra update here. So that stayed the same. There's been a little bit of money that's gone back towards here. And these look like they have settled even a little bit further. Okay, so this first matchup, E-Star minus 120, they're 3-8 on the season, up against Rogue Warriors minus 115, they are 3-8 on the season. This morning, we were looking at minus 115 for Rogue Warriors, minus 120 for E-Star, so slight favorite towards E-Star. This afternoon, a few hours ago, it was plus 115 to minus 155, so a lot of money coming in towards Rogue Warriors. And then, as of right now, it's the same, except a little bit came back towards E-Star, so they're back down to plus 110, or the book has just moved the line back towards plus 110. Against winning teams, E-Star is 0-6, Rogue Warriors is 2-6. And this is really a story of trajectories here. In their last 5, E-Star is 1-4, Rogue Warriors is 3-2, so they've picked up all 3 of their wins in their last 5 games, as opposed to E-Star, who only has 1 of their wins in the last 5 games. Statistically, let's look at it real quick, but it's E-Star 1756 to 1678. Goal differential per minute, minus 48 to minus 158. First blood, first turret, a little bit of first blood edge to Rogue Warriors, but a little bit of first turret edge to E-Star. The Dragon percent has E-Star up by about 15%, and at 15 minutes, E-Star is plus 53 to the minus 1175 of Rogue Warriors. So, all the stats point E-Star. The argument against them is a few different things. Number one, Rogue Warriors has made a light-up change in the last few games. They've been playing Wooming at mid. He's looked very, very good, significantly better than Ruby was looking. And it, to some degree, seems like it's transformed the team. They get a 2-0 victory over LGD, a 2-0 victory over FPX. Just 2 really surprising, strong victories in a row for Rogue Warriors. Neither one of these teams had beaten anybody of that caliber up until that point, really. For E-Star, they've been in a lot of matchups recently where it felt like they should be the favorite. And they have let us down pretty heavily. Anybody who's been on the E-Star train this season will be struggling with those last 5 matchups for sure. I know I was probably on E-Star for at least 3 out of those 4 losses. So not a great feeling being an E-Star fan at the moment, I gotta say. That said, E-Star has also changed some things up. First, they brought in Rat, who had been a pretty solid performer behind the scenes. He's only played, I believe, 1 series so far, and that series did not go to E-Star. But they also have switched their mid for this. Fen, who I did not think was having a good season. There's been some debate among people about how good his season has been so far. I personally did not think Fen was having much of a season. They switched him for Irma, who we don't know much about on the LPL level. In the LDL, where he was playing for the E-Star youth team, it seems like he plays a much more aggressive champion pool than a lot of mid laners. I would expect, if E-Star wins this series, I would expect Irma to be central to what they're doing. I think a lot of people probably end up fading Irma even if they're playing E-Star, or they'll try to get away from lineups that he's in. But it seems to me from his champion pool, I'm seeing Pantheon, I'm seeing Renekton, I'm seeing Set mid, I'm seeing the kinds of things that he's going to want to get lane advantages and snowball into the team fights. So if E-Star wins these, I could see them winning early and staying ahead. So I think Irma is a very important target if you're going to play E-Star. I think he's a guy that you're going to want to have in your lineups if you play E-Star. On the other side of the coin, Rogue Warriors, the mid lane matchup seems like it's going to depend on a lot, because I think Wu-Ming, from what we've seen in the last few seasons, has been playing exceptionally, and Zhuji has pretty great averages in their wins, as you're going to be able to see from his projection, which is the top projection of the day if his team wins. So a very close matchup. I think the ownership should be pretty split. I'm hearing a lot of people talking about Rogue Warriors. This could be a very rare case where the underdog, the original underdog, I guess Rogue Warriors is the favorite now, but where the original underdog of Rogue Warriors ends up being the higher owned of the two teams, and maybe by some margin. People seem pretty out on E-Star, which I totally understand, given how many slates in a row they've lost DFS players at this point. But the matchup feels very close to me. If you told me that either one of these teams was going to have like 15% more ownership than the other, I would play whichever one had less ownership, and I wouldn't be too worried about it. The other matchup on the docket, BLG plus 170. They are 4-6 on the season, 0-6 against winning teams, going up against WE, who is minus 240, 7-4 on the season, 2-4 against winning teams. Now let's update those odds a little bit. This was from this morning when I first checked. Since then, WE has gone from minus 240 to minus 265, and BLG has gone from 170 all the way up to 190. So clearly, people favoring WE, maybe thinking they're getting a better price than they should on WE because WE is coming off of a loss. Let's look at the stats and see what they say. In the last 5 games, BLG is 3-2. WE is also 3-2. Gold per minute is 1710 to 1772 for WE. Gold differential per minute, plus 32 to minus 87 in WE's favor. First blood, first turret, it's a first blood edge for BLG and a first turret edge for WE. Dragon control goes 10% to the WE side. But at 15 minutes, BLG is actually slightly ahead of their opponents, where WE is about 300 gold down. I think this matchup is really bad for BLG stylistically. I think they're going to have to get, like, their only real hope, their late game coordination is not good enough to beat WE, I don't think. So their only real hope is to get leads. But even then, I think that WE is at their best in that like 17 to 28 minute time period. And that's where I feel like I see BLG making the most mistakes. In the laning phase, they're a fine team that's capable of getting things done. Meteor's a great jungler. I think when it comes to those first few skirmishes and team fights is where WE tends to really assert their authority. And I also think that's kind of a weakness for BLG. So I think that that this matchup definitely leans towards WE. I think the numbers are pretty right. It's not like BLG can't win. I mean, BLG, like I said, is capable of beating just about anybody. Meteor's a great jungler. I do think it leans WE pretty decently. And I think the ownership on the slate is probably going to lean that way as well. I'm going to go for ownership. I think you're going to see WE followed by Rogue Warriors, followed by E-Star, and BLG be the lowest owned team. Some people are arguing that they think that E-Star might actually be the lowest owned. And like I say, if that's the case, I want all the E-Star. I'm guessing you're going to see it more like this, with WE being pretty heavy. Also, you know, a favorite of all the league fans, the DFS fans. Looking at the KPW DPLs, E-Star with an 18.2 to the 20.1 of Rogue Warriors, absurdly high. You're looking at like an over 19 expectation. That's crazy. If Rogue Warriors wins, it's the same thing, 19 to 19.3. You're looking at an over 19 expectation. So, super bloody matchup. Whoever wins this matchup feels like the highest scoring team on the slate. Now, I have mentioned this before, but one thing you have to watch out for with these sometimes is a matchup like this is always capable of having like Game 1 be 18-2 Rogue Warriors and Game 2 be 17-4 E-Star. And then, despite the fact that both the games were pretty high scoring, like for the winners, neither team is really in a position to take down the slate. If, like, say, WE wins both their games 16-8 or whatever, it's a decent chance that WE would outscore with the 2 16s plus the game not played bonus, versus these two teams both being higher scoring when they won, but not getting that game not played bonus and having a game where they lost and didn't get very many points. So definitely something to watch out for there. I think the ownership is pretty likely to go this way. Looking at cash games, I mean, in theory, we want to play Rogue Warriors in cash games. They're now a minus 155 favorite. I think that it's all you need to know. Whoever the biggest favorite is, even though E-Star opened as the favorite, it makes sense to play Rogue Warriors in cash, given what we're seeing here. So Rogue Warriors and WE. Is there something wrong with the pool? Oh. The WE players are gone. And Rogue Warriors team is gone. Okay, let's try that again. You can get a 4 Rogue Warriors with Zwuji captain. I mean, this is cash, so there's no reason to get tricky with it. That feels like the lineup. The Rogue Warriors E-Star game grades out to be the bloodier of the 2 games. You're getting an 80 carry captain. Zwuji is the guy who's likely to outscore on his team. I don't see any reason to get tricky with this one. 4 Rogue Warriors with Zwuji captain makes too much sense for me, generally speaking. There are other ways you can go. You could try Wooming captain. I don't think for cash, I'm not sure that's really where I'd go. I think for GPPs that makes a lot more sense. If you wanted to play the original favorites in your cash lineups, so let's say E-Star and WE, you'd be looking at Wei captain with 3 E-Star. I'm a little bit surprised. I don't think I would play Wei captain with 3 E-Star, even though it's projecting the best, and I do trust the projections. I really think I would get a 4th E-Star in there. You could change Morgan over to Xiaobai, or you could change Jumeng down to Rat and get 4 E-Star. That series just seems like it's going to be the bloodier series, and I think I'd want to play 4 players from it. So that's pretty much all for me today, guys. Nothing super exciting. Just kind of looking over the projections real quick. Wei far out projecting Beishang. Same with Irma and Teacher Ma. Very close at 80 carry. Jumeng actually out projects, despite E-Star out projecting in most spots, and Xiaoxi out projects. And lastly, real quick, looking at WE versus Rogue Warriors. Holder with about a 4-point edge there. In the jungle, it's Beishang over Haro, which is also telling you, funnily enough, that Wei is like way out projecting these guys if they win. Wooming about 5 points ahead of Teacher Ma. Zwuji does get the edge over Jumeng, despite the fact that Jumeng was ahead of Rat. And Lei is a full almost 11 points ahead of Missing, so Missing looking kind of like the odd dog out for WE here as far as the scoring trends go. But that's about all for me, guys. Good luck tonight. I think it's going to be a fun slate. I do recommend the strategy I usually recommend on 2-game slates, which is to get all in on one of these teams. You can play lots of different combinations. You can get, if you're going to get all in on Rogue Warriors, then you can play some Rogue Warriors with WE. You can play some Rogue Warriors with BLG. You can play game stacks. I think there's, a game stack of BLG WE even though that doesn't project as well. I'm sure that the ownership on something like that is going to be crazy low. So, yeah, I would get all in on one team, and then you can play a lot of various pairings with them and cover some bases if you're playing MME. So that's all for me, guys. I will talk to everybody later. Hit me up on Twitter and Discord as per usual, and you guys have a good rest of the night.